Welcome back to Tennessee Frugal Craftsman. It's a Tuesday morning. Goodness, October what today? October the 18th. I want to bring you along for a little bit of siding with me today. A little bit of my reclaimed Hardie board. Now, there may be some question what I mean by reclaimed Hardie board. How do you reuse Hardie board? This was actually stuff that was left over from a new home construction. And it was in mostly 4x12 sheets, and so it was just scrap stuff that was, some of it was 3/4 of a sheet, some of it was half a sheet, parts of a sheet. And what I did is I just ripped it all from the sheet level right down to the 6-inch wide. I made about 5 7/8 so I could get a full 8 sheets out of or 8 strips out of a piece of 48 inches wide. And so I finished my wall next to the sawmill, and so I'll show you that. It was part of my last video, and I appreciate all the people who have watched it. It's been done very well, and so I'll show you what it looks like. So as you can see here, it is now complete. I threw some scaffolding together here because I haven't got mine out here yet. But you can see that everything I sealed everything with caulking and primer and whatnot, all the joints. I'll come around here. So this wall now is ready for paint. I don't know when I'll do that. It'll probably have to be a nice warm day, because even though here in October we've got some what I think is fairly unseasonably cold weather. But anyway, as a former Canadian, I get used to that cold weather. So what I wanted to do is wanted to bring you along and do a little bit here on this end, and hopefully throughout the day. I don't know how much I'll get done, but I've got a couple appointments I need to keep, so I'm going to work on this end here. So I'm going to start and kind of bring these two sides up here. So I've got everything ready to go. So I'm going to set up and just kind of talk through kind of the first little bit of what I'm doing. So what I'm using are a 2-inch galvanized box nail and some 1.5-inch galvanized box nails as well. First thing I want to do is I want to put a starter strip on. All I'm doing with this is just putting it even with the bottom of the boards, my boards on the siding, because my next run is actually going to drop down below the starter strip 1/4 of an inch. So I've already drilled pre-drilled the starter strip. Let's hit something hard. Maybe just as good to use these smaller box nails. They work a little better. I'm going to put one more in that one. That starter strip is really fragile. One actually cracked a bit. So the first one's on. So I've already painted the ends of these. I put the lines where the studs are, and I've also lined off at 8 inches or at 5 inches. So that first one goes flush to the bottom. Let's get that first one started. Right into a stud. As is that one. Okay, so the first one's on. Now I'm going to caulk it. I just give that a little bit of a swipe with my finger, make sure the caulking is in the slot. Okay. Now I take a little bit of my trim paint, it's got primer all in it, and all I'm doing is just giving a little bit of that top edge, just a little bit of a seal, because there are no because I've cut this out of a board, there is no primer on the top of that. It's a raw edge. Next one, I've already got it marked off there. And it's always good to check that once in a while. So I'm just going to tack this one on. Got my 2-foot level. Just gonna check, make sure I'm running roughly 5 inches exposure. Put your level on. That one's got a little bit of a spring to it. So that's because what I've done on this building, I didn't use plywood. What I used is my own boards. And so this one is just happening to fall right in on the crack of a board, and one board's a little thicker than the other. And so it's got a little bit of a spring to it. And so the way I'm going to address that, and that's the beauty of this particular type of siding, I'm going to put just one of the small 1.5-inch box nails in and pull that down. And I'll tell you, when I paint that, that's you don't see it. That pulled that in fairly nicely. Put my caulking on. Smooth that out. Now what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the caulking, because this is a stucco finish, put a little bit on the nail head. It'll blend right in when I paint. That's why I did all of my upper eave work. Now this one has been painted. That's why it's a little bit different color. All you need to do is bring them in snug enough so it's not flopping around here. Run your caulking. This one's got a little bit of this around. Smooth it in. Can't remember whether I put paint on that last one. I think I may have got a little bit ahead of myself. Let me come to the next one. Now you can nail this without pre-drilling. The only issue I found with doing that is that your nails will often bend or break your Hardie board, especially towards the end of your piece. You can easily split or break, punch out the end of your piece of your Hardie board. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I don't know how long that's been out. Sorry about that. And this one's got, again, this one has a little bit of play right there. But this is totally personal preference. Some people may not want to do that, but I have found that once you put the paint on that, you put a small face nail in it. You could always use a finish nail of some sort if you pre-drilled it. They basically blend right in with the pattern on the pieces. They'll blend. So we're at that stage where it's getting hard to squat. Bad nail. Throw it in there on the floor because I'm going to be putting concrete in. Just film a little bit more. Now the last one's going to have to be notched around my little projection here, where I've let my molding go up by 1/2 inch just for decorative purposes. All I'm doing, measuring down, because I know it's 5 inches, so I've got to have roughly 2 inches to get it up underneath of that. So one of the things I use is actually a hacksaw. Found that a hacksaw will cut that. Those fine cuts, and it cuts down on the dust. Try to fit it. See how it works. Well, give a little bit of paint on this. I'm actually going to go ahead and just paint the whole top while I'm at it. It's up there a little higher now. Make sure I get in around where I notched it. I'm going to take one nail, set this. Right on the nail head. Okay, let's check that with the level. Bang on. Put the other 2 nails in. Got just a little bit of play in that, so I'm going to put a small box nail in it. All right, I've got to scoot to a meeting. See, my battery is flashing, so I'll step back here, and as you can see, that was 17 pieces. These are 5-inch exposures, and so I'm going to come back and do this after lunch. But you'll also notice, if you look around the corner, these actually align with the other side, and that's one of the things you need to keep in mind. That's why you always check, usually measuring down off the eaves every now and again and making sure that everything's aligned. And so that is putting on Hardie Board Siding. So I'll bring you back and maybe do a short video at the end of the day and just show you what I got done. Until then, we'll pick it up next time. Well, it's coming to the end of the day, and I've got just a couple little spots left to do on this front wall. I'm going to try to maybe get some of the first part done before I go home, but I wanted to finish the video while I still had daylight. So I'll show you what I did. I lost about 3 hours today because I had meetings, but I have done both sides now, as you can see, and over the door. I ended up with about 5 small joints over the doorway, just because the building's 14 feet wide. Even if you had 12-foot stuff, you would still have joints there, so I spaced them out. Then I stepped up, and these are all solid pieces, so everything's done, as you can see, up to that point. So I just have this little section here and that section up there to do, and so I'm going to try to get at and do as much of this as I can before I go home. But I just wanted to finish the video. I appreciate you joining me, and hopefully as you're watching you get a little bit better understanding of how to put Hardie board on with the blind nail method and by using just hand nails. And so it can be done without the air guns. I find that it does, you know, you can pull the Hardie board in really nicely, and you can see where anything is loose and whatnot when you're hand nailing. And so it's worked out very nicely. And so, as always, I appreciate you joining me, and if you would, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that too. Until next time, you have a great day.